Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks, or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at USAA.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
War Eagle, and welcome to another edition of Ever to Podcast, our somewhat regular get-together with you on audio format to discuss the Auburn experience here at E2C Network. That experience to us is all about a few things: Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and Auburn family stuff. An easier way to say it might be, though, if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're going to be doing today on episode 18 of Ever to Podcast. I'm your host as always. Today's date is June 5th, 2025. It is a Thursday. We are marching ever so steadily, I guess, towards Auburn Super Regional time. I know that is where most of our minds are focused on and should be at this point, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in this episode as well. But there's some more conversations about Hall of Fames, some videos that have been put out I want to make you aware of for you to be more informed as Auburn fans and things that are going on around campus and for athletics. So let's get into all those things today. Let's start off with more Hall of Fame talk. I'll be honest, I didn't think we'd be getting this much of a conversation around Hall of Fames at this time of the year, especially a variety of them. Yesterday we talked about the College Football Hall of Fame. Well, yesterday we've got the news that our very own Tim Hudson will be inducted into the Oakland Athletics Hall of Fame for them. Now, you'll know, obviously, he played out there. He played for the Atlanta Braves, Giants, and I think that was it. I could be wrong. I followed it pretty closely. But most importantly, for our purposes here, he's a former Auburn Tiger, one of the best Auburn Tigers. In fact, if you haven't watched or listened to our episode where we covered the Mount Rushmore of Auburn pitchers, you're probably going to find Tim Hudson on it. So it makes sense that he be in Auburn's Hall of Fames. It makes sense that he should already be in some Hall of Fames for some of these Major League Baseball teams. Thankfully, the Oakland Athletics obviously would make the most sense to happen first, because if you remember, and for those of you that aren't aware, maybe not baseball fans or Major League Baseball fans, I'm not saying I'm the best candidate to explain all this, but what I do remember very much so was that core three that they had, very similar to what the Braves had in the 90s of Glavine, Maddox, and Smoltz. They had Mark Mulder, they had Tim Hudson, and they had Barry Zito, and that was just a core three that was very strong. And I think they overlapped a little bit just for a brief time. I could be wrong, not on the same team, obviously on different teams in different leagues, AL and NL. But just giving you a comparison, for I know a lot of you Auburn fans who would be Braves fans and got to see Tim Hudson thankfully come play for the Braves for so long, which was a great thing for those two things to cross paths. So thankfully, Tim Hudson is finally getting some recognition at the major league level for his time being played, at least for the Oakland Athletics. We discussed this a little bit on Auburn Family Night last night, which is what we do every Wednesday night. It's a live call-in show on YouTube. You should join us next time, 9 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays. We discussed whether or not, the Braves would eventually do that for him. Did he have a good enough career at the Braves to warrant a Hall of Fame sort of thing down the line? Maybe so. We'll see there. I know he won a World Series with the Giants, but I don't know how much people would attribute that to him and in terms of the success of it. I know he was a part of it. But anyway, I think we all recognize as Auburn people, Auburn baseball fans, the prowess of Tim Hudson and want him to be recognized, because it's another opportunity for Auburn to be recognized vicariously. The most important thing is for Tim, his family, and his accomplishments. But of course, we attach ourselves to our Auburn people and want to celebrate them and talk about them. So congratulations to Tim Hudson for being named to the Oakland Athletics Hall of Fame. Very much deserved, maybe more to come in the future. What I want to bring your attention to is not necessarily news-related things, although it's kind of been news that's aggregated and gathered by us and others. But there's a few videos out right now that I think you would find valuable as Auburn people for athletics, for things going on in the university. Because I always hear this same thing every time I come to Auburn. There is just so much change, so much going on, and I feel like I didn't know this was happening. Well, the best way you can do that is to stay up to date with us, because we talk about a lot of those things here. But you can also follow some of these other accounts. I'm going to point you to the Auburn University Facilities Management accounts, and I believe they're on Facebook and Instagram, X, those primary ones, and they have a YouTube channel as well, which is where we've been sharing some images and shared out their video as well from there about updates on big projects. Now, there's obviously big construction projects going on around campus, around the town, all that kind of stuff. The biggest one being and the most obvious one in the skyline is that north end zone video board. So if you really want some good looks, not just of the back side of it, which we all in the public can see right now, and only do we get to see the inside if someone with access to the inside or if the official source shares the inside, you get a really good look of how things are, where they're at, where they're coming together. And for a lot of you too that wonder about the future of the north end zone and stuff and expansion, are they ever going to do seating and stuff like that? Pay real close attention to some of these images about how things are set up, and you can see why things were built the way they were to leave room for eventual expansions, renovations, things like that for the north end zone. So there's some images of that. There is images of renovations being done to the Auburn Sports Offices Complex. I forget the official title for it, for sports medicine down there. I didn't know that was going on right now, to be honest with you. There are videos of the new bookstore renovation. Not much other than it being gutted, but you can see how expansive that bookstore was and what they're doing to improve that in the Haley Center. And I know a lot of us are thankful that if you're investing money into the bookstore for a renovation down there, that means at least that quadrant, which is still a large building of itself of the Haley Center, is not going anywhere. I know every time a college leaves, like Education just moved out to their new facility, wonders that the final nail in the coffin for the Haley Center. That's on there. The residence halls too, by the way, you can see the old residence halls that are getting renovated, but the brand new one that is right outside the concourse on campus and right across from the Student Center, the Haley Center. Folks, this makes me extremely jealous that Auburn students are going to get to stay like literally right on like the hub of campus right there. They literally can just walk over to the Student Center, walk over to the Haley Center, they can see the football stadium literally in their backyard. Just imagine if you had been able to do that. I know that there were quads and what am I thinking of? Dormitories that were just about as close, but this one just feels kind of extra special since it's new. So check that out. There's also a video that Auburn softball put out. It's kind of like, if you know what MTV Cribs is, that old TV show, taking you inside. I really enjoyed watching too. Give you a good perspective of that renovation that's still, it's been happened for a while, but you can get a good look through of what they get to experience and, you know, what facilities are like for our Auburn softball players. And as a final video, I know, and this will transition us over a little bit, I know we're about to be focused solely on super regionals, but if you haven't, go check out our video on YouTube, Facebook. I think it's on all social media platforms, if I'm not mistaken, of the post game for regional play. You'll see a lot of cool moments in there. The celebration with the team as soon as it happened, afterwards cheering with the fans or singing with the fans, the board out in outfield changing over from 4 super regionals to 5 super regionals, Aubie's on there. So if you want to really get connected with the Auburn experience, those are some good sources to get yourself informed about things that are happening on or around campus, and obviously the regional play as well. Let me, I guess, since our focus is about the super regional, we'll spend the last bit of our time just rolling through some things again. And maybe I'll offer this for you just in case for some reason we're not able to do a show tomorrow. I think we will be able to, but forever to podcast. But of course, travel plans sometimes wreak havoc, and I am heading to Auburn tomorrow is the plan. So my predictions for the super regional. I've said this various other places, but I'll say it here now if I haven't already. I believe that Coastal Carolina will win game 1. I think they are an incredible college baseball program. The fact that they host regionals pretty, I wouldn't say consistently, but they're there a lot. They've won a college World Series in recent history. They have a great fan base. It sounds like very rowdy fan base. I think they're coming in ready to prove a point, and I think they're going to win game 1. I think Auburn will win game 2. Especially if Sam Dutton pitches in that situation to lock us down and get us over to game 3 on a Sunday. And I really, really am excited to see what that game 3 might look like. Now, of course, I'm rooting for Auburn to win in 2, of course. But I just feel that's the way this is going to go. Auburn has some momentum, but so does the Chanticleers. By the way, what a weird name, right? The War Eagles versus the Chickens, essentially, the fancy chickens. If somebody said that on our stream last night, that was pretty funny. So that's my predictions for that. Reminders, they have a super regional page on their app. This is the Auburn Athletics app and website that you should be going to look to. Tickets are currently sold out completely, but they said some may come available. Remember, game times are 8 p.m. Central on Friday, 2 p.m. Central on Saturday, TBD Sunday if a game 3 is required. And keep in mind, there are some weather issues potentially, especially looks for Saturday and maybe Sunday as well. So that could change things. So be ready, be flexible, show up, show out if you're heading there, even if you don't got tickets and you're watching from the deck currently like me. I'm excited to be in Auburn on the plans for what is going to be a historic and fun weekend, and I hope you all are ready to join in along with us for the ride. Follow us on social media so that you can stay up to date with everything that we're sharing there. As always, we'd love to hear from you to interact and talk about things that you want to discuss here on Ever to Podcast. You can hit us up at E2C Network. I always put the ad at the end of that. E2CNetwork@gmail.com, or you can DM us on any of our social media accounts that we have out there. As always, make sure you're subscribed for this podcast and many others on our audio podcast format. YouTube and other social media are good sources for you as well. Thanks for hanging out with us here at Ever to Podcast, episode 18 on June 5th, 2025. Until we talk to you again, War Eagle.